first one is from Felix, and he wants to know, do you use different scoring methods? And if yes, what's your favorite one? Well, thanks for asking the question, because I wasn't even sure if I follow any specific method. My first thought after reading the question was that I'm actually just winging it most of the time. But after thinking about it a little more, I realized I do indeed have a scoring method that I always follow. And I don't think any specific name exists for it yet. Maybe let's even coin it here and right now. Let's call it from the macro to the micro. So this whole method is basically built upon the idea that from the macro to the micro, if you get every step right, you're going to end up with a fantastic score or a fantastic whatever. Any creative process, I think, can be approached with this method. Specifically in film scoring, here's how it works. What is the macro? The macro is you understanding every single story beat, every single facet of the story, the whole universe that the filmmaker is building. And you need to have an absolute bird's eye view before even thinking of doing anything musical. It's kind of like first you plan the road trip and then you make the Spotify playlist. So first step is understanding the movie. Second step is kind of going into the movie a little, dissect it a little more, look at characters relations to each other, look at stuff like that. It's, you're already kind of zooming in a little. At some point you can bring in musical ideas, and even thinking musically, you want to apply the same principle, thinking broadly. What is the sound of the movie? Is it orchestra? Is it synth? We're talking very broadly here. And then you can go deeper and deeper. You can, once you know the instruments, like which chord, which voicing, is it close voicing, is it an open voicing? And at some point, you're going to be so micro that you're thinking literally about what MIDI velocity does one note have between 1 and 127. So from the macro to the micro, that's kind of what I follow. And I think it just comes naturally. To me, it feels like a very natural thing to do, to get the big important things right first and then really go in depth. And if you approach every zoom level of this macro-micro scale with enough dedication, and if you get everything right, you will end up with a great score. Yo, dog. I was kind of hoping to get your help with something again. I need to get people to subscribe, and I was just wondering if you can do that thing where you guess in which hand the treat is, and if you get it right, people have to subscribe. Yeah? Yeah. Oh, no. Oh, freaking hell. Oh, man. All right, we got Kyle J. Hartman with a really interesting question. What are the best non-music skills to have as a composer for film and TV? Let me briefly show you how I envision the whole thing. Imagine film scoring as a triangle, and the end points of this triangle are art, technology, and business. Now, if you want to make it as a composer, as someone who wants to do film scoring, you want to be somewhere in the middle of this triangle near the focus point. You need to know craft, you need to be a creative thinker. That falls under art. Also need to know how to build a template, how to mix, deal with frequency, file formats, exporting stems in 5.1, etc., etc. This falls under the technology thing. Lastly, we have business. Building relations, clients, have a website, go network, etc. Now, Kyle, to your question, only one out of these three, big things, I would argue, are music related. So there's actually tons of skills under the technology and business thing that you also have to bring with you as a composer, which is really, a lot of people don't know what they sign up for when they want to do film music. It comes with all these requirements, skill requirements that are non-music related, but are so important to make things work. I do know some extremely gifted musicians, and they're kind of, where they position themselves in the triangle is at the very top of the art thing. And I'm kind of noticing that they're really struggling in the industry, finding work. Like most of them don't have many gigs, but they're such gifted people. They make me feel musically small, genius type of people. But if you cannot go to an event and make an introduction, or kind of, if you're not a good collaborator, that's all. I don't know. It will not work. But Kyle, again to your question, because I just answered it by telling you that all these non-musical skills are very important, but not what they are. Let's do a video on this. I promise you, I'll do one soon, and we'll go over all the ones, because there are simply so many. Oh boy, Anje Rossmann through Facebook. How can you be so good looking and write such good music at the same time? Oh, Anje, shouldn't you know how it works to be so good looking and write such good music at the same time? I mean, come on, you must know. There's no way you don't know. Furthermore, he wants to know, what is your skin, hair and makeup routine during a tight composing deadline? Regarding my skin routine, it's probably less than you would expect. I do moisturizing cream with sun protection in the morning, and I do moisturizing cream without sun protection, at night. But before that, at night, I put vitamin C serum, and I swear by that. Try it, you'll see results within a week. The hair stuff is the most complicated one. I use a generous amount of Aesop hair balm, and kind of what I do is I fuck around until it sits right. However, every time you fuck around, it's kind of rolling a dice. You fuck around and then you need to look at the result, and sometimes you need several turns of fucking around until it's right. Okay, next up through Instagram we have Benjamin Klein Music. He wants to know, from your experience, what is the best way / medium / event to network as a film composer? The way you network should go well with personality traits that you have that make networking feel natural and easy for you. Now, what do I mean by that? You need to do some reflection first. Like, what kind of a guy or girl am I? Am I shy? Are you more of an outgoing person? Is it easy for you to meet people? And if you meet new people, is it easy for you to, talk with them, get into a conversation? And also, with how much confidence can you talk about your own skills to someone in a professional kind of network type of situation? And after you self-evaluate it, you should network in an according way. Because believe me, if you're the introverted type, you will hate going to these mixer network industry mixer events. You will simply not feel comfortable. I'm an outgoing person. I like to meet new people, but I still feel sometimes like really uncomfortable going to these events. Just a little anecdote. I once went to a TV Academy mixer, and I met a fellow composer. Kind of, you have a sign here that says name and what are you doing. So we met, we talked, and like throughout our whole conversation, he kind of, scanned the background and looked around. It was really a kind of a dehumanizing experience, because I knew that this person I'm talking right to, he didn't want to know anything about me, or he was not interested in talking to me at all, because he was here to talk to directors, producers, editors, and that's fine. That's why all these people are here, to make connections. But I think what people get wrong about these events, that there's a misconception that you go to these events to land a gig, and I think that's a very long shot, and it will probably not happen. I think if you meet a person for the first time, you just want to make a connection with this person on a human level. You need to kind of, do I even like this person? Like maybe this person is not even, maybe I don't even like this guy. That's what the first meeting is about. I never shoot my shot in the first meeting. I think it's totally pointless. Sometimes I'm not even telling editors or producers that I'm a composer. I just want to make an impression on a human level that I can be sure I like this person and this person, hopefully likes me back. And then you always exchange contact details. You have an email or you can call. And, after a meeting, it's good practice to follow up and say, hey, it was nice meeting you. I think you're a cool person. If you're down, we can meet over a non-alcoholic beverage and we can see if there's any opportunity for us to do business together. And if you don't like the networking events, there's so many other ways to expand your network. Good old email, there's social media. Something very underrated is like an introduction by a third party, like someone introducing you to someone like, hey, can you, I would like to expand my network. Is there anyone that you could introduce me to? I think that's a very organic, very fruitful way of expanding your network. Next up, through Instagram, Elias Hafner wants to know, where do I start if I want to get into modular synths? And we also have Holing with a similar question. Can you do a video showing us your Eurorack setup? There's so much to unpack with the modular synth stuff. So yes, absolutely, we will do tons of videos, actually, about the modular synth rig and how I use it for film scoring. Well, not only film scoring, actually. I'm using it for all kinds of stuff. And it's probably the most fun part of my whole setup. So stay tuned for some really weird sounds. Okay, next up we got Chase Wind Composer with a spicy question. What are some of the craziest DMs you've gotten? Well, I don't know about like crazy DMs, but I can tell you about a few that I'm getting and that I feel are a little off-putting. One type of message is a message that is basically asking me to connect someone to Hans, and it's such a weird thing to receive because I'm in no position whatsoever to do that, and there's official channels where you can get in touch if you want it, but like for me to receive a message from a stranger, we've never interacted before, and it's asking me, can you send my music to Hans, or can you put me in touch with Hans? If you send me the DM like that, I don't even know where to begin. And the other ones are similar in a way, like other people ask to connect me to Bleeding Fingers music, and I have referred composers to the company, and some of them hold a full-time position now, or have held one. If someone's really talented, and I know you personally, I know you're someone that I would vouch for, then I will always be happy to connect people, bring people together, and help both sides. I love to do that. But some people, they do this thing, and it's so weird. They write one long message, and they copy paste it and send it to all composers at Bleeding Fingers, like 15 people, and they get the same message. Literally, I got a message saying, like literally the opening sentence was, "Hi Jacob, I really love your work on Planet Earth 2. I've never worked on Planet Earth 2. Like not even checking it before sending it out. And it's really weird. And those are kind of the messages that I've received that I would say are weird or not crazy. Other than that, not much crazy stuff going on in my DMs. Christian on Facebook wants to know, how long did it take you to settle in LA? The people, work ethics, etc. I'm not gonna lie, it was super tough. I'll say that the single biggest difference between Austria or Europe, the whole European mindset of working, and how the Americans do it is in the work ethics. And it's kind of in, the kind of level what you think is a normal amount of work. When I landed in LA, I wanted to get to know the people, and I'm kind of guy, I love talking to the Uber drivers, taxi drivers, and they would always tell me that this is actually just the second part of their day, that's their second job, or some even the third job. And I say, oh wow, like you're saving for something, or you got something coming up. People were saying, no, that's just to get by. Something I noticed, like having been in corporate America for a while, is that I simply couldn't really compete or catch up to with the Americans. And it's the hours that they are putting in, and they're okay with putting in, is just kind of above my level. I get very unhappy if I work too much, and I really need that. But I'm coming from a place where in Austria we have 6 weeks of holiday per year, and that got shortened to 10 days, and that's the norm in America. I also feel that in America there's like an obsession with hours worked, and you want to be the first that comes in the morning, and you want to be the last to leave, and you want to do the weekends. I don't operate like that. Like, to me it's more important, because I know that I can do more in 4 hours sometimes than in a whole 12-hour day. To me it matters what have you done in the hours, not how many hours were you there, or amount of hours worked doesn't always equal fantastic or outstanding or great work. I'm not advocating for being lazy or not being, putting in the work that it needs. Like I work very, very hard, but I don't always work long hours, like quantitatively, if that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't make sense. You let me know if it makes sense. Hats off to all the people here that can make it work. It's actually really impressive. You need to give up a lot of your personal life, and it's really impressive to me that people can do it. The way it works, it was one of the reasons why I went back to freelancing, where I can do whatever I want with my day. That's just how my brain and how the way I want to be creative works. I am Henry Miles on Instagram. He says, loved your first video. Well, thank you, Henry. Thank you very much. And he wants to know, how do you see the future of film scoring in the next 5 to 10 years? I feel like we had a really good run for the last 20 years of, how we do things, how we work with sample libraries, how we work with music, with musicians, etc. I think it was kind of, stuff was interesting, stuff was good, but stuff was in order. And now new things are around the corner, and new things can only be born out of chaos. Chaos gives birth to all sorts of new things. And I believe that within the next 5 to 10 years, we will have whole new types of media to score. We're not only film composers, we will score things that we don't even know what they are right now, because they're being developed right now. And that thought massively excites me. I think it's freaking cool, and I cannot wait for it to come into my life. I truly believe that we are in the most interesting era of filmmaking and music too. And please, if you love John Williams, and if you're a John Williams type of person, now would be the time to fight with me in the comments. I love John Williams. He's one of the reasons I started music. But I feel like our modern times, we need to cut them some slack. I think there's a lot of garbage being produced, but some of the films I have recently watched and some of the music I've recently listened to is some of the best I've ever heard. And people are pushing technical boundaries and creative boundaries in a such awesome and interesting way. So just for the lols, I asked Grok to generate a depiction of what the future of filmmaking could look like. It gave me some text and also rendered a picture, which we will look at in a moment. The text says, of course, that it will be an AI-assisted thing. That's the shovel seller telling you that there's gold everywhere. All you need is a shovel. But yeah, let's look at the picture. And it looks like that the future, at least for film scoring, is not female. Sorry, girls. The composer of the future wears extravagant garments and has a jawline so sharp you could easily cut yourself touching it. The typical 3-screen setup is also being replaced by holographic monitors that show you all kind of nonsense. Not really sure why I would need all that stuff. And in the background, there's even more guys watching you. Well, my interpretation of this is that notes will be given to you in real time. What a horror. That's probably, oh, this guy, that's probably the producer telling you to make it sound closer to the temp, which is, of course, Interstellar by Hans. And for some odd reason, there's some old Roman dudes who are looking straight at you too. There's even intergenerational performance pressure upon you. Fun. Next up, through Instagram, Iago composer, I hope I didn't butcher that, wants to know, what is the purchase in your career that you are the most satisfied with? You know, unfortunately, I have to dodge this question a little because I love all my gear equally. I don't have a favorite, and I really mean that. It's really hard for me to pick one, but let me show you something that I recently got that I think is very, very cool. It's a Christmas present to myself, and I got this Osmos keyboard with MPE capabilities. It looks so freaking cool, first of all, and it can do a whole bunch of stuff. And I got it on the day where I left for Austria, so I didn't even mess around with it a lot, unfortunately, but I'll do that once I'm back. I did, however, hook it up, installed it and put it on my working desk, and I just, fucked around a little. Lukas, through Instagram, submitted a real short and sweet one, just saying best budget synth, with not even a question mark. Wow, not even a question mark. So I think this man is in a real rush. So I will also answer this question real fast with a 2-framer. It's coming up, and I hope your pause game is good. Good luck. Over on Facebook, Bruno wants to know how to write very fast but still be creative. Okay, I have 2 thoughts on that. First, where does speed come from? How do you think he got so freaking fast at that? It's through a lot of practice, over a lot of time, with lots of discipline. So it's kind of the boring part of the answer, is that you have to know your craft. You have to know that C major to E major sounds wondrous. You have to know that A flat minor to F sharp minor feels really spooky and weird. There's stuff you need to know and learn, and you need to kind of have it on recall at any given time. That's the craft. But obviously stacking cups like that and doing it in a fast way, it has nothing to do with creative. It's not creative, right? So where does speed come from while doing creative things? And how I see a creative process is it's an endless chain of questions that pop up while doing creative stuff. And you need to answer these questions. And the speed comes from how confident and fast you can answer this endless ongoing string of questions. I mean, you know where I'm getting at. In film scoring, often, time is of the essence. So we need to be creative, but we need to be fast with it. We need, 2 minutes. That's kind of the norm, to write 2 minutes of music a day. And in order to pull that off, you need to know these two things. You need to have the craft. You need to stack the cups really fast, and you have to make these creative decisions with confidence. And there's this famous or infamous interview with Rick Rubin. Here's what he says.
Do you play instruments?
Barely.
Do you know how to work a soundboard?
No. I have no technical ability, and I know nothing about music.
You must know something.
Well, I know what I like and what I don't like, and I'm decisive about what I like and what I don't like.
So what are you being paid for?
The confidence that I have in my taste and my ability to express what I feel.
He's getting paid for the confidence he has in his taste. When I first heard that, it really blew me away. So he's making a point to answer these questions, all these creative questions, with confidence. And I thought it was a really cool thing to watch. I have seen you doing this before. I know you can do it. So please, I really need people to subscribe. Can you try that thing one more time? Again, just guess where the treat is, okay? In which hand? Please, I really need you to get this right. This one? You sure? That one? Yeah? Yes! Yes! That's a good boy! Yes! On Facebook, Hillel Paley wants to know, if you could go back in time to the start of your career, what are the top 3 things you'd do differently to break into the industry? Number 1, I would meet more filmmakers and fewer composers. No offense, some of my best friends are, fellow film composers, and I love the film music bubble and the community. Well, some aspects of it, I should say. The point I'm trying to make is I'm just curious what would have happened if all this time that I dedicated into other composers up the career ladder, if I would have instead invested this in meeting more film people and growing with other filmmakers, not makers of film music. I guess we'll never know. Number 2, buy fewer libraries. Every dollar saved is a dollar earned, right? I bought way too many libraries in the past that were marketed very well, but sounded like absolute garbage. And I think actually we have peaked right now, and maybe I'll make a video about it in the future. I don't know yet, but I think right now we're at the pinnacle of marketing products very well and very gimmicky, like a piano that does this, or a thing that's been recorded at an unusual place, or blah blah blah. And this is the way how it's sold to you. And oftentimes when you actually play around with the actual sounds and all the marketing thing is gone, it's just you with the instrument, I often feel that if you take all this out, the surroundings, and you're just left with the sounds, it can be quite underwhelming and you really regret making that purchase. So let's see, I might make a video about it. If you're interested, let me know. And number 3 is I would start YouTube and social media earlier. I am 34 now, and I'm just, kind of getting into it. I think now in 2025, it's all about discoverability. Is that a word? It might not be a word, but I think you know what I mean. Can people discover your music? Can people discover you? Can people discover you as an artist and hire you? Honestly, if you have anything on your hard drive right now that's just rotting there, not doing anything, then I don't see a reason why it shouldn't be out on Spotify or wherever for people to discover. Lots of filmmakers are on social media. If you're not there, no one will find you. I read something interesting that said back in the day, being mysterious made you very interesting. Being silent, being mysterious. But that has changed. Now it's being mysterious makes you kind of invisible because everyone is out there doing stuff, and just something to consider.